Before Babylon reached its golden age, before Persia reshaped the Near East, there was Nineveh, a city so powerful that entire kingdoms trembled at its name. On the eastern bank of the Tigris River, in the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, rose the capital of Assyria, a civilization built on discipline, conquest, and fear. Nineveh was not merely a city, it was a warning. By the 7th century BCE, under the reign of Sennacherib, Nineveh had transformed into one of the largest urban centers on Earth. Its walls stretched nearly 12 kilometers around the city. Massive stone foundations supported towering mud brick fortifications. 15 monumental gates guarded its perimeter, each entrance protected by colossal stone beings, lamassu, winged bulls with human faces. They were not decoration, they were intimidation carved in stone. Every visitor passed beneath their gaze. Every envoy was reminded who ruled the world. Inside the walls, the city expanded in calculated precision. Broad roads cut through dense neighborhoods. Palace complexes rose above the rooftops. Temple towers stood at the spiritual center of the city. And beyond it all, the Tigris flowed, steady and eternal. Nineveh was engineered for dominance. Water channels and irrigation systems sustained life. Administrative districts recorded tribute from conquered lands. Markets filled with goods taken from across the empire. Cedar from Lebanon, silver from Anatolia, ivory from distant lands. The wealth of nations moved through its gates. But wealth was not the foundation of Nineveh's power. Fear was. The Assyrian army was unlike any force the ancient world had seen. Disciplined infantry marched in tight formations. Archers fired in coordinated volleys. Chariots thundered across battlefields. Siege engines, towering constructions of wood and iron, crushed city walls. Assyria perfected warfare. Rebellion was not negotiated, it was erased. Relief panels inside the royal palace did not hide this truth, they displayed it. Cities under siege, rivers crossed by armies, captives led away in chains. These carvings were not art, they were messages: submit or suffer. Yet Nineveh was more than conquest. Under Ashurbanipal, the city reached an intellectual height few empires achieved. Unlike many kings, Ashurbanipal could read and write, and he collected knowledge with obsession. Within the palace stood one of history's greatest archives, the Library of Ashurbanipal. Thousands of clay tablets, astronomy, medicine, mathematics, law, myth. Among them, the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of humanity's oldest surviving stories. While armies marched beyond its walls, scholars pressed wedges into clay inside them. Nineveh balanced brutality with scholarship, power with preservation. At its peak, the Assyrian Empire stretched from Egypt to the Persian Gulf. Tribute flowed endlessly. Foreign rulers bowed. Nineveh appeared invincible. But empires do not collapse from strength, they collapse from strain. After Ashurbanipal's death, cracks began to form. Succession struggles weakened the throne. Subject territory sensed opportunity. Enemies gathered quietly. Among them were the Babylonians and the Medes, old rivals waiting. In 612 BCE, the coalition advanced toward Nineveh. Dust rose on the horizon. Defenders manned the walls. Archers stood ready. The lamassu still guarded the gates. The city that had destroyed so many others prepared to face siege itself. At first, the walls held. Assyria had mastered siege warfare. It believed no army could break its defenses. But this time, the enemy was relentless. Siege towers rolled forward, battering rams struck stone, flaming projectiles arced through the sky. Fire began to spread. Sections of wall collapsed, the outer defenses fractured. Smoke filled the streets. The same avenues once used for military parades now echoed with chaos. Soldiers retreated toward the palace. Citizens fled toward inner districts. The Tigris reflected the glow of burning rooftops. Nineveh, the terror of the ancient world, was being torn apart. The relief panels that once celebrated conquest now witnessed defeat. Lamassu statues stood amid falling stone. Temple towers faded behind curtains of smoke. The city that seemed eternal was not. Ancient accounts describe flooding, fire, destruction so complete that future generations would struggle to find the ruins. Whether embellished or not, the archaeological layers confirm a violent end. Burned structures, collapsed walls, broken sculptures. Nineveh fell, and then something remarkable happened. It disappeared. Centuries passed, the empire dissolved, trade routes shifted, other powers rose. The once mighty capital became silent. Mud brick eroded into earth, palaces collapsed into mounds, the lamassu statues were buried, the temple tower crumbled into dust. Wind reshaped the land. Nineveh became a memory beneath the soil. Some doubted it had ever existed. Until the 19th century, archaeologists began excavating the ancient mounds near modern Mosul. What they uncovered stunned the world. Massive carved reliefs, colossal winged bulls, thousands of clay tablets. The lost capital of Assyria had been real, not myth, not legend, real. The Library of Ashurbanipal re-emerged from the earth. Stories once pressed into clay thousands of years earlier were read again. The voice of Nineveh returned. Today, fragments of that city stand in museums, stone guardians, broken inscriptions, tablets bearing the marks of ancient hands. But the living city is gone. Its walls are gone. Its empire is gone. What remains is lesson. Nineveh teaches that fear cannot secure eternity, that conquest cannot prevent collapse, that even the strongest fortifications eventually fall. Empires rise, empires dominate, empires believe themselves permanent, and then they vanish. Nineveh was not destroyed by myth, it was destroyed by history, by overextension, by enemies who waited, by instability within. The same pattern repeated across centuries, from Babylon to Rome to every empire that followed. Once lamassu guarded its gates. Once armies marched from its walls. Once scribes recorded the movement of stars. Now only earth remains. But beneath the soil of Mesopotamia, Nineveh still whispers, and its warning remains. No city is untouchable, no empire eternal, not even the one that ruled the ancient world.
Gently now, use the brushes here. Be very careful with the wings. Careful, watch the wing there!
Clear the dust from the base. We must not damage it.